Hello and welcome to Japan's Money Numbers. This is Nova from Last Station District 4. If you haven't heard much from Japan's Money Numbers, we mostly stay silent during these particular episodes. And one of the things we easily say silent is because we just want you to focus on the numbers. But today we have an announcement concerning what is going on with Sony and its recent decision not to be in E3 for next year 2019. And that announcement comes as a shock to many. They have been there for 25 years, well 24 years, and will not be there for the first time in the company's history. And so there is some shock, disillusionment, surprise, and weirdness coming from that particular place. But some saying that the PlayStation 5 will be ready for 2020. And this comes on the heels of the issues going on with certain VN games that are coming out, that they have banned visual novels coming from Japan throughout their whole system, that there is a worldwide censoring standard they're planning to use because of the regional dislock, that the censors are going through all their whole things. They're trying to change some aspects of the law, but I still think it's a racist law, a racist placement of this particular I'm trying to find a word for it. The use of this particular censorship rules they want to put in to this particular gaming and all the other things that they're also doing. But this does not fly into the face of the announcements that are coming out of not only THQ Nordic saying that they have 25 games coming out between 2019 and 2021, but there are other games that are being planned for 2019 as well. There's 6 other games they have said that will come out at the end of next year 2019 as well they could promote, but none of them is for their first party. And that may be the thing. Their first party games are being delayed at least 2 years until the end of next year. And then they might come back with E3 with the PlayStation 5 and the whole rest of the gambit. But this is rare because they could promote other things that are coming to their systems, or time exclusivity has run out on a lot of the games that they want to air, or there's a backlash going down in Japan, especially with the sales dropping like a stone after the announcement of the VN ban and the other censorship bans that are going around, especially with Sengan Kagura and the rest of them. This is and the way that Sony is telling the Japanese developers not to say anything of it because they're under NDA contract for the particular year. A lot of people are saying that Sony is moving towards a direction where they want to become more like a television network instead of a gaming franchise. That the same type of ego that made them successful in the PlayStation 2 era is now back in the PlayStation 4 era. And now that ego has gotten worse, especially after what they did with the crossplay at Fortnite. And then the whole particular thing with the name changing and all the rest of it. And how that's being handled. And the thing is, Sony never made this announcement. It wasn't Sony that made the announcement. Guess who made the announcement? The ESA themselves, saying that Sony will not get into the thing, will not be in E3. Of course, Microsoft and Nintendo has said we are going to have major league setups for their E3 things starting for next year. But I'm stunned myself because usually with their success in 2018, even though it wasn't that bad, it was all right. Despite the whole issue with the Japanese flu and all the rest of it. What is going on right now that will make them say we don't have any games for E3 to show? We don't have anything concerning with what we plan to do in 2020. So they're saying we're waiting until 2020 for this thing to happen, and then we're going to come back at 2020 with a fresh new start, all these other things, all these new games and whatnot. We're coming in bigger and badder than ever. You're 7 months away. You could tease a little bit. They didn't even do PSS this year. What in the world is going on? Everybody is frightened, especially with the whole thing with the VN banning and the censoring of these games, the whole issue with Blizzard and all the rest of them, and the way they're handling their issues. The thing that happened with Nintendo getting $12 million from two people that were selling ROMs illegally. Microsoft buying Obsidian Studios and all the rest of it. They're saying they're going to a more Western RPG focus in the upcoming generation. Then they're saying they're having a diskless Xbox One X in 2019. Yet all these Japanese games are coming out next year, and Sony's not promoting not even one. They're not even going to be there. Folks, I want y'all to listen carefully. Y'all going to get scared. The reason why I said we have to support Black Bond in this particular instance with Blizzard and the rest of them. It's because if we don't win with Black Bond, we don't win with nobody. Nobody else has got the cojones to go after these people like Black Bond does and his friends. No one has the guts to go after these particular entities and those that and the corporate slaves like Black Bond does. If we don't win with this brother, we're gonna lose. One thing y'all need to understand is that this gaming industry is a space for a lot of men who don't get a lot of space anywhere in this country, whether people like it or they don't. Another thing you must realize is that Fortnite is pretty much the Western video game industry at this particular point. They've taken every single fan that can possibly be taken from every single game out there, despite the fact of the success of God of War, of Red Dead Redemption, of many other Japanese games. Fortnite will still be there making their money because of the way they handle the V-Bucks and the costume changes and the cosplay items that they sell on Epic Store for Fortnite. And they haven't even gotten to save the world yet. And they said they were going to get it out of beta by this time. Nothing from Save the World from the versus E that they wanted to promote first. And then Blizzard comes out with tone deaf aspirations. And then it turns out that most of their people have gone to mobile. Similar thing with Activision. Activision said that we're going to go into the it's too late. Now they're fully with Activision and their mobile strategies. No one wants to tell you the truth about these things. The journalists, what makes this even worse is that the journalists have now conspired to work against everyone's interest and not tell the truth about what's going on, not do investigations of what's going on with these companies, but then carrying the water for all of these corporations instead of putting them into the fire, putting them on fire, taking them to task. It's like they don't want to even be here. They don't want to even cover video games anymore. They thinking that they can be like Jim Acosta. And take down Trump and all the rest of these things. If they want to do that, fine, but don't use us as a stepping stone for your future ideas, for your future employment. Don't use us as stepping stones to future employment. Because all you're doing is doing PR for these corporations. And I'm just asking simple questions. I recently wrote a letter to Sid Schumann and Gio Corsi asking what is going on in the company. Because for the first time, I'm afraid that I'm gonna leave something that I've been enjoying for 20 years. I'm gonna be forced to leave something I enjoyed for 20 years. I don't want to be doing that. I want to leave it as an heirloom. I want to be proud of the hobbies I did because that got me out of the streets. Now, you can blame the streets all you want. Yeah, I live in streets. The streets need some respect, sure. But the streets is a killer. I'm just letting y'all know. Streets a killer. But so I put my concentration, not going after darts, not going after that, not worrying about what other women are doing, not worrying too much what the streets would be talking about, all the rest of it, those things, working on my education. You see? And so I had some right to be concerned when you go to another man's country and you start sniffing around for no damn reason but jealousy and racism.